Okay guys, we're going to look at some inequalities today. These are two cheat sheets that I've put in your assignment. You need to make sure that you pay attention to them and understand what they do, etc. Today we're going to focus on graphing and then creating our inequality statement. Okay, so there's a couple different inequalities. You've got greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So the example that we used in class today is we typically have 10 students in person and 12 students online, which gives us a total of 22. If I said that I had 8 in person today, we would have as much as 10, or more than 10, less than 10, we would have less than 10 because I know 8 is smaller than 10, okay? So if I say that and I put that on a number line, I can go like this, okay? So here's 8, 9, 10, and I can just number my number line. Here is where I should be, right? But here's where I am, all right? Now, I am less than 10, and I know anything going to the left on a number line means I'm going less because the numbers are getting smaller. So if I say I am less than 10, my number does not include, my graph, would not include the number 10 because I don't have 10, right? I have less than 10. So my circle, when I graphed it, instead of the traditional big dot, would be an open dot because it doesn't include that number 10, and it would be going less direction. So 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and those are all going left on the graph. So if I graphed that statement, it would be an open circle with an arrow going left. If I were to write out that statement in mathematical terms, it would be x, my unknown, however many I have in class, is less than 10. This sign right here means less than because my inequality sign always opens up, the big part, opens up to the larger amount. So if I had more than 10 in class, it would just be flipped. 8 would be more than 10, okay? And then again, my arrow would be going the opposite direction because more than means to the right. If you pay attention to what the arrows look like, it's actually very easy to figure out which way your arrow on your number line should go. If you look at this right here, here is the greater than sign, here is the less, here's the less than sign. It almost looks like an arrow in and of itself. So if I took and drew a line coming out of it, look, it creates an arrow. Makes it very easy, little cheat for you to be able to remember which direction my arrows should go when I'm creating it on a number line. So let's look at some of these. Okay, first of all, this was our warm-up for today. You needed to be able to solve. So I would go in and solve this. Okay, so my inequalities can be shown on the number line. That's what we just said, okay? So I'm going to fill this in on the number line. We said not including the number, this is greater than, this is less than. There is a possibility to go through and connect a greater than and equal to, which is this sign right here, okay? When I'm doing that, it merges the greater than and the equal to sign. So if I said my number, again, using the 10 that's in class, if I said I'm bigger than 10, then my sign would look like that. If I was equal to 10, it would be the bottom. Well, what if I had the potential of doing both? So I can have 10 people in class and at the same time I can send somebody to the restroom or to the office or something like that. Then I could have more than 10 if somebody showed up in class. And when I do that, these two signs merge, okay? And you have a greater than sign and an equal sign all at the same time. And this means greater than or equal to, which again means they can happen at the same time. okay? So it's a greater than sign and a less than sign with that equal attached to it, okay? Again, when I'm graphing just a traditional number on a number line, I know it includes that number, so I have a solid dot. So it's the same thing with inequalities that have the potential of being equal as well. It would have the solid dot on a number line. So let's look at our example. X is less than 5. Well, the number I'm looking at is the number 5, so that's where my dot's going to go. Okay, so I'm going to start with a hole, and then I'm going to look at my sign. Does my sign have the equal attached to it? Well, in this case, it sure does. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to blacken my dot completely. Then I'm going to look at the arrow. Which direction does the arrow go? Well, I have a less than sign, which I know, again, if I just draw my arrow coming out of it, that tells me the direction my sign's going to go. So my sign in this case is going to go left. Okay? If I had a greater than sign, it would go the opposite direction. Okay, so X is greater than or equal to 5. Let's make our grid real fast. Same thing, here's 5. I'm going to have a solid dot because it says greater than or equal to. And then my arrow coming off would be going to the right because that's the direction the greater than less than sign is facing. Okay? If it did not have the equal sign attached to it, then it's going to graph exactly the same, except the only thing that changes is my dot. Okay, so here's 5 again. This time it does not include the number 5, so it's going to be a hole. And I'm going to do this one just like the top, less than 5. So this time my arrow is going to go out to the left. And then if I did it again, going the opposite direction, which is greater than, X is greater than 5, I'll have the same thing. Here's my number 5, da 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 da. Okay. Again, I would have an open circle at 5, and my arrow would be going the opposite direction because it is now greater than 5. Okay, so the biggest thing you need to understand is, does it have this extra line at the bottom that means equal to or not? If it does, then it gets the solid. If it does not, it just gets a hole. Okay, let's look at graphing a couple of these. Okay, so this first one, K is greater than 11. Well, I know my number's 11, so I'm going to start again with the hole at 11. If I look at my greater than less than sign, it is bigger, it is greater, so my arrow is going to go to the right. And there's no underline, so my hole stays the same. It's just a hole. Okay, looking at number 8. 12 is my number, so I'm going to start at 12. It is, ooh, look at that, greater than or equal to, so my arrow is going to go to the right to show greater than. Because it is equal to, also, I have to remember to fill in my hole. All right, D, same thing, starting at 6, so I start off at 6. This time I have a less than sign, so I'm going the opposite direction. And I do not have the line, so my hole stays open. Okay, C, starting at 25. I'm going less than, so my arrow goes to the left. I do not have a line, so it is open. 11, I start at 0, so I open the line. I have a less than sign, so I'm headed to the left. But look at this, you got to pay attention. You have the equal to sign merged with it, which means my dot must be completely filled in. Okay, last one. Starting at 4.5. Well, I don't have 4.5 on my graph, so I need to understand that 4.5 is between 4 and 5. Okay, so that's where my dot's going to go. I have a greater than sign, so my arrow is going to the right. And I have an equal to sign, so my dot should be completely filled in. Okay, hopefully that'll make sense. Let me know if you have any questions.